What if the choices you make today could protect you tomorrow or leave you vulnerable when life's storms hit? This is the story of the wise builder and the lesson he left behind. The hills of Galilee were alive with whispers as crowds gathered to hear Jesus teach. His words carried weight, unlike any they had heard before. That day he lifted his voice and said, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock." The people leaned in, their hearts stirred, for they knew a story was about to unfold. In a quiet valley lived a man of wisdom. He dreamed of a home that would endure, a place that could shelter his children and his children's children. Patiently, he searched until he found ground where solid rock lay beneath the soil. "Here," he declared, "is where my house will stand." The work was slow and demanding. He dug deep, his back aching, sweat pouring down his face. Yet each stone was placed with care, every beam set with thought. His house was built to last. Not far away lived another man, hasty in his ways. He too longed for a home, but he desired comfort quickly and without struggle. When he saw the smooth sands along the river, he laughed. "Why dig in hard stone when the sand is soft and easy?" he said. Without delay, he built. His walls rose quickly, his roof was set in no time, and soon he stood proudly before his fine house, boasting of his speed and ease. For a time, both houses stood tall beneath the same sky. The wise man's home was plain, rooted deep upon the rock. The foolish man's house gleamed in the sun, proud and inviting upon the sand. Neighbors passed by, some admiring the strength of the first, others praising the beauty of the second. To all who looked, both seemed secure. Then one day, the winds began to shift. Dark clouds gathered, and thunder rolled across the valley. The wise man barred his windows and secured his doors. Within his heart was peace, for he knew his home stood on solid ground. The foolish man, however, grew uneasy. The river beside his house began to swell, and the trees bent low under the growing wind. The storm came with fury. Rain poured down in torrents, and the floods raged against the valley. The winds roared like lions, shaking every wall they struck. The wise man's house groaned under the pressure, yet it stood unmoved, anchored to the rock. The foolish man's house, however, trembled. Its walls cracked, its foundations shifted, and with a thunderous crash, it collapsed into the rushing waters. In an instant, all was lost. When the storm passed, the valley was silent. One house still stood, strong and steady upon the rock. The other lay in ruins, its beams scattered, its beauty gone. The people remembered the words of Jesus. "The one who hears my words and does them is like the wise builder. The one who hears and ignores them is like the foolish builder." They understood then that he was speaking not of houses, but of lives. To build on him was safety. To build without him was ruin. A person who hears Jesus' teachings and puts them into practice builds their house on a rock. When the storms, rains, and winds come, this house remains standing because of its strong foundation. A person who hears Jesus' teachings but does not put them into practice builds their house on sand. When the same storms come, this house collapses because its foundation is weak. The storm represents the inevitable trials, difficulties, and tests of life that challenge everyone. The parable teaches that merely hearing about God's will is not enough. True wisdom lies in obedience and action. Building your life on the foundation of God's word through Jesus' teachings provides stability and strength, ensuring it will not be destroyed by life's difficulties. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the Bible.